So, OpenAI just launched a brand new web browser called ChatGPT Atlas. And right on cue, I'm already seeing the hype about how this is going to kill Google Chrome, Perplexity, Comet, Safari, etc. Now, my goal with this video is to help shine light on reality here after installing ChatGPT Atlas and playing around with it on my MacBook. I'm also going to explain some real world use cases that you could potentially use this for. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my final thoughts on if I'm going to be shifting my workflows to ChatGPT Atlas or not. So be sure to stick around for the full video. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. My name is Ryan. I appreciate you being here, and I help executives and founders leverage AI by scaling content, saving time, and ultimately building a strong personal brand online. And if you want to know my favorite AI tools, prompts, and even automation templates, be sure to get my free AI Marketing Essentials Guide. You can find the link for this in the video description or pinned comment below. So I'm not going to get into every little detail of ChatGPT Atlas. I will leave a link to this page in the video description below, but the first thing I did want to call out is access, right? ChatGPT Atlas is launching worldwide on macOS today for free Plus Pro and Go users. That means that this is available right now for all ChatGPT users, both free and paid, and even worldwide. Usually when we see an update from OpenAI like Sora, for instance, it's really geo-restricted to North America. But the big caveat for ChatGPT Atlas is Mac OS. So unfortunately, if you're using a Windows PC, you are not able to install ChatGPT Atlas right now. But if I had to guess, this is being worked on and will be available for those users very soon. So if you do have a macOS device and you want to install ChatGPT Atlas, you need to come to this page, chatgpt.com/Atlas, click download for macOS, and then go through the installation steps. Since I'm using the Atlas browser right now, obviously I can't do that. And there are two important things you need to note about this. Number one, it's going to ask you when you install it if you want to transfer all of your data from, I believe, Google Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. So you can do that if you want. I did not do that. And number two, you do have to have a ChatGPT account in order to use the Atlas browser. Whether you're a free or a paid user, you are required to log in. As you'll see on the main screen here, I'm logged into my ChatGPT account or my ChatGPT Plus account, as the interface looks very similar here. So I wanted to call that out if you were interested in installing the Atlas browser. And before I dive deeper into ChatGPT Atlas, of course, I have to be one of the few people on the internet that shines light on reality. This is the type of stuff that fires me up, is right when there's a big AI update, you have all these creators that flood to the scene saying XYZ competitor is dead. This is the next big thing, right? The browser that will make Chrome obsolete. I saw one today. Google is finished, all caps. How OpenAI's Atlas might crush Chrome in web browser wars. Let's talk about this for a second. I'm not saying it can't happen. Let's say hypothetically that OpenAI's Atlas does beat Google's Chrome browser in terms of just usage. Are we forgetting here that Alphabet, who owns Google, still has the biggest moat by far? This isn't close in terms of data, infrastructure, and arguably tech talent. Think about Gmail, YouTube, even Google search. Google still has a 90% plus search moat right now. People are conveniently forgetting about that type of thing. So I want to shine light on reality here and say that even if OpenAI does win this quote unquote battle against Google, they have not won the war, not even close. And I think long term, the way that Google is set up with the data, with their data and infrastructure, unless they self-sabotage, I don't see how anyone can touch them in the long run with this whole AI race. Now, they could definitely win the browser wars here with Atlas versus Chrome, but of course, I have to be the one that shines light on reality versus flooding to the scene and hyping everything up. And so one thing I also do want to mention here in terms of Google, though, is that what you do notice, I'm on a month trend here. I'm on actually Atlas. I'm on the search part of Atlas. I just asked it to give me Google stock or Alphabet Inc. stock. What you will notice is that it did drop. There was a little dip here, obviously. Now, I think it was like 3% or something in one day that it dropped off of this news. So clearly Wall Street was a little shaken up by this news, and that's expected, right? I would expected Alphabet stock to drop when OpenAI launches a web browser like this. So I wanted to call that out first. The other thing I want to note is that as I'm using this for the first time, There are a lot of similarities between Perplexity's Comet browser and also OpenAI's Atlas browser. We have the Ask GPT function here on the top right. In Perplexity Comet, we have the assistant on the top right, almost in the same area. And honestly, the outlook looks very similar too. So, what do they say? Good artists create, great artists steal, right? So I wanted to call that out too. The other thing that I think that's important to note about ChatGPT Atlas, in my opinion, I think this is an ultimate data ploy for OpenAI. They are going to collect all of this data from the millions of people that start to use the Atlas browser with search history and pre-existing ChatGPT history and whatnot, and they're going to start to leverage this as they launch ads in 2026. Yes, if you haven't heard about this was announced in April by Search Engine Land and various other outlets. OpenAI's plan is to launch search ads within the ChatGPT interface. It's going to come to free users first, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they started to sprinkle in some ads within ChatGPT's interface to even the $20 a month users, just to get more monetization out of that large group of people. So those are some things that I wanted to call out first before I actually take a deep dive into ChatGPT Atlas. So as I open a new tab on the Atlas browser, this is what the interface looks like. And something that threw me off right away is that the search bar is in the top center. I think this is like Safari. I could be wrong there, but I'm used to it being on the top left with Comet and Google Chrome. Just a nitpicky thing that threw me off. And of course, they want you to set it as the default browser. Clearly, I have not done that. Now, in terms of actually using this, we have some default drop-down options right here with agent mode, latest on the stock market, group projects by theme, blah, blah, blah. But if we click this plus icon, a lot of similar features to ChatGPT Plus, but there are some unique to ChatGPT Atlas. We have one here called Add Tabs. So all of these tabs that I have open right now on my browser, I can click this and incorporate it into a chat. That's kind of unique. Also, too, we have browser memory. So if you want to leverage browser memory from things that you've searched on this browser in the past, now I just installed it today, so obviously my browser memory is not going to be very big, but as time goes on, this could be interesting, especially if you're importing data from Google Chrome or another browser. I would be curious to see how that browser memory would come into use there. We also have tab search, and then similar to ChatGPT, we have web search, we have Canvas, study and learn, and then some of these ChatGPT apps that are now integrated like Zillow, Spotify, Canva, etc. We also have deep research. We also have ChatGPT agent mode. I think that is a really big deal, especially when it pertains to this Atlas browser, as we can start leveraging agent mode to doing tasks for us autonomously while we go off to different tabs or even other web browsers altogether. And so I think this is really interesting. One question that I have, though, is you'll notice it says 40 left. So I'm a Plus user, right? ChatGPT Agent, as far as I still understand, is not available to free users. So if you're a free user of ChatGPT and you install Atlas and you log in and whatnot, I'm not really sure how agent mode is going to work or how many uses of agent mode that you have. But those are just some of the high-level overview of features that you're seeing inside ChatGPT Atlas. Now, something else that's important to note, I'm glad I saw this, I almost missed it, is that if you look at these default drop-down options here, review today's content automation plan, compare AI authority models. Both of those options are pulling in previous chats from my ChatGPT account history. So that's important to understand is once you log in with your ChatGPT account, the Atlas browser now has access to your entire chat history within ChatGPT, and we can now leverage these within the Atlas browser however you want. But regardless, I just wanted to call that memory aspect out first. Let's do a very basic search example. So now I'm going to do what is the current price of Bitcoin just to see what these results look like from a search engine perspective, right? Because apparently this is going to kill Chrome, this is going to kill Google. So let's see what these results look like. And this looks like the ChatGPT interface. So it comes up with a nice chart here, a few citations and whatnot. Definitely did answer the question. But what's really interesting here is if I click this search option on the top, what do I notice right away? I notice this little option that says Google. And if I click this, it takes me directly to the first page of Google search results for that exact query of what is the price of Bitcoin. So this tells me that on this search feature, they are retrieving the exact results from page one of Google for this particular query. And I guess a little hack here is that this is a way to use Google search right now without annoying ads, without video packs, people also ask, and all of the other search features that we see in Google search results. I mean, that even includes AI overviews, AI mode, all of these other search features here. This is a way to do that within Atlas right now, where you're not seeing ads or all of those other features. But super interesting how it points to Google results and not Bing results, considering Microsoft is a huge investor in OpenAI. And on a similar note to search results, if we click the images tab right here, where are they pulling these images from? Well, guess what? If we click this, it's going directly to Google Images. Shocker, right? Same with videos. If we click videos, it's a bunch of YouTube results. Click this, guess what? It's the videos tab on Google search. Click the back button, same thing with Google News, or same thing with the news tab. If I click the news, where are they pulling in all of these news stories from? Well, guess what? It's the Google News tab. So they are literally retrieving all of this information from Google search right now. And I just wonder what the long-term strategy is behind that. And not Bing, of course, right? That's the biggest question in my head right now of why are they retrieving things from Google when Microsoft is apparently this huge investor and not pointing things to Bing. So super interesting to see that and how that's all playing out. So now let's explore some real-world applications within the ChatGPT Atlas browser. And first, I want to talk about agent mode. Now, agent mode is nothing new. This is available inside ChatGPT. I'm on the web application right here. If I click the plus icon, here's agent mode right here. So again, this is only exclusive to plus or paid users of ChatGPT. So I don't know how this is going to work with free users on the Atlas browser. That's a question I'd like to know the answer to, but this feature is nothing new. And so within the Atlas browser, you can see this drop down and click agent mode to get started. Or if you click the plus icon, click agent mode, and then this will prompt you to describe a task. Now I've already done this. And so when I did agent mode, this is what it looks like in action. And here's the prompt that I gave it on the top right. Essentially what I'm using this for, and I've talked about this in previous videos on my channel, is essentially I'm wanting it to research and build a personal brand style guide for Ryan Dozer. This is going to be useful when I create things like projects, GPTs, or even automation modules when I'm doing certain tasks where I want the outputs to sound just like my writing style. And so I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but you can see here it's scraping the entire internet trying to find all of my brand mentions, podcast transcriptions, social media posts, trying to compile a style guide that sounds just like me. And I think this is a really good use case for ChatGPT Agent. Now, while that's running in the background here, let's go over another real-world use case. Let's say you want to summarize a YouTube video. Well, like I mentioned, this is similar to Perplexity's Comet with their assistant feature on the top right. So this video right here from Matt Wolf, he's talking about ChatGPT's new Atlas browser, but I don't want to watch the whole 29-minute video. So I can click Ask ChatGPT, and I can say something like, give me Matt Wolf's top 3 takeaways from this video on ChatGPT Atlas. I know you guys can't see because my screen's in the way here, but you'll see here that's what I asked. Give me the top 3 takeaways from this video. And so let's see if it actually goes through this correctly. I might have to skip ahead. I'm not sure. Oh, it actually did it pretty quickly. So Matt Wolf's top 3 takeaways from his video: Atlas isn't just another browser, it's an AI workspace. Agent mode's a game changer. Memory and persistent context make it truly personal. So the point I'm trying to show you there is you can apply this to obviously any YouTube video, any blog post, any form of content, as I'm guessing it just scraped that YouTube transcript in order to get this answer in about 5 to 10 seconds versus me sitting here watching for 29 minutes, or before, you'd have to go in, find this transcript, copy and paste the transcript, drop it into ChatGPT and say, summarize this video for me, right? That still is very tedious. Well, now we have a quick way on the sidebar to simply summarize things like videos, blog posts, emails, etc. So those are a few really interesting use cases that I'm thinking about right away. All right, so if we come back to my results quick from agent mode for that personal brand style guide, I noticed this took 4 minutes, so I can click into this and look at the entire chain of thought process here. I don't really care about that too much, but just really detailed if you're curious to know that. And then here is my style guide. So it pointed out all of these things that it found about me online, my audience, brand essence and mission, tone and voice. And so what you could do with something like this is literally copy and paste this entire thing, drop it into a Google Doc, and then upload it into a project, GPT, copy and paste this for an automation module. So very useful type of task for agent mode. You could also come back and refine this if you want to say triple check your research or do XYZ task. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this video. Also cool how it found or added all these citations on the bottom of where it got this information from, but that is using ChatGPT agent mode within the Atlas browser, and I might be inclined to try this again in the near future. One other real world use case that I wanted to point out that I think this would be extremely useful for is troubleshooting things like AI automations. I don't know about you guys building automations, but I frequently run into errors all the time. And when I do that, the old way of using ChatGPT or GPT-5 thinking mode was taking screenshots of the automation, downloading JSON files, uploading screenshots and JSON files to ChatGPT's interface and asking for troubleshooting advice. It was very tedious to do it this way. Well, now you can click Ask ChatGPT and simply ask for advice here. What is the error of this automation? And how do I fix it? Right? So now we have a little sidebar here where it's literally analyzing my screen and going to provide feedback. So it says right here, looking at your screenshot, the parameters, what this error means. The Dropbox module is trying to run, but 2 of its required input fields are either invalid. So it notices that the Dropbox module has an error. Now am I saying that this is going to be a silver bullet with what it's telling me how to fix it? No, I am not. But this is definitely going in the right direction in terms of troubleshooting just from an efficiency standpoint. And I actually expect to use this quite a bit if I ever need help with troubleshooting. Now, I also use Google AI Studio, the screen share to help me with things like this. But that is something else that you can use. Let's say you also have a website that you need help troubleshooting with content, or maybe you want some advice on your call to actions above the fold, or what you should put in your menu, or how certain content should sound, etc., etc. You can do the same thing asking for advice on your website versus prior, it's screenshots, it's downloading as PDFs and then uploading to ChatGPT. It can be extremely tedious. Well, now that we have this Ask ChatGPT in the sidebar versus going to the main interface, this could definitely improve the efficiency of things like troubleshooting automations, troubleshooting website issues, etc., etc. So those are just some initial things that I'm seeing right now in terms of how we can use this ChatGPT Atlas browser for real-world applications. I'm sure I'll think of more use cases as time goes on. So here are my final thoughts on the ChatGPT Atlas browser. First of all, I do think that this is a significant update. Most AI updates aren't that big of a deal to most people in my opinion, but this one is big. Knowing how big OpenAI's distribution system is with their email list, their organic traffic, their social following, all the PR power that they have, this is going to end up in the hands of millions of users. And so with that being said, I think this has some serious SEO implications as well. Obviously, they're not going to make Google search the default search engine. I think eventually they're just going to want people to stay on ChatGPT for search-related queries, and then eventually collect all of this data from Atlas users to better serve ads within ChatGPT search. That's the plan for 2026, of course. And this is a great way for them to do that and start collecting more data on users. Because remember, Google still has such a massive, massive data moat over OpenAI, and I don't think that that's going to come close anytime soon. So we need to keep that in mind. Do I think Google Chrome will become obsolete? No, I don't think it will become obsolete. I think that's the wrong term. That's a clickbait hype term. I do think that this will definitely etch into the market share. And it's very interesting now with Perplexity, Comet. We have things like Brave browser. I'm assuming there are going to be more web browsers, right? We had that Dia web browser, and there's other AI web browsers floating around as well. But this is definitely coming in and shaking up the market quite a bit. I do also like this as a product. I think agent mode within Atlas works good. I like the memory aspect where once you're logged into your ChatGPT account inside the Atlas browser and then can pull in your entire ChatGPT history and start using things like that. So I do think there are a lot of benefits to the ChatGPT Atlas browser. Honestly, I haven't decided if I'm going to use this yet in terms of shifting everything from Google Chrome and Perplexity's Comet over to ChatGPT Atlas. I'm not going to do that right now. I need to take more time to think about my current workflows, if it makes sense for me to dump all of this into ChatGPT Atlas, and then start to learn more about this browser and basically just take a pause on things and need to think through this versus just immediately quitting Chrome, immediately quitting Comet, and hopping over to ChatGPT Atlas. I think something else important to note here is that if you are not in OpenAI's ecosystem, if you don't have a ChatGPT Plus account or a ChatGPT free account, and you're using things like Google Gemini or Claude, or maybe you're using Perplexity outside of ChatGPT, this probably isn't that big of a deal to you. You can still use Google Chrome with Gemini built into that. You can use Perplexity Comet with Perplexity built into that. Or you can use Claude. Maybe Anthropic will come up with a browser at some point and have Claude integrated into that. But if you're not in OpenAI's ecosystem in terms of using ChatGPT, I do not think that this is a big deal. But as I keep rambling on, overall, again, I think ChatGPT Atlas is a very significant update, and I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this release from OpenAI. Let me know in the comments below what you think about ChatGPT Atlas. And if you've made it this far into the video, I truly appreciate you. If you found any form of value, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, I hope you all have a great day.